Hi everybody, it's meteorologist Terry Swails. It is Monday, we're all back to work today, and weather-wise, kind of nice to see the sunshine out there, but we are in the midst of a dramatic change that has a good chance of bringing some record cold temperatures to the region in the next 24 to 48 hours. And it's ironic that's happening now because way back in 1936, on this very date, 78 years ago according to my math, we had the hottest temperatures ever recorded in many locations around the Midwest, including eastern Iowa and western Illinois. Here's a picture taken around that time, and you can see the ladies there doing their business with blocks of ice and fans blowing across them. There were no air conditioners in most locations at that time, and as a result of that, people really suffered severely during the heat wave, and over 5,000 people nationally died during the peak of the heat, which went on for nearly 2 weeks. Here's a look at some of the temperatures that occurred right here in the Quad Cities, and for 11 consecutive days, the high temperatures were at 100 degrees, and for 11 consecutive days, record highs were established. That is just unprecedented. Nothing's ever come close to that since. And look at some of the temperatures there. 105, 105, 104, up to 107, 108, 107, and then finally, on this date, 111.3 degrees here in the Quad Cities. The all-time record high, and that has fortunately never been approached since. And without air conditioning, it was so brutally hot in the homes, and the heat just never escaped there during the night, that people actually slept outside where low temperatures would stay close to 80 to 85 degrees for a pretty good portion of the night. So just some amazing weather back in those days. And the other thing that I think is really remarkable about it is that the winter that preceded that record heat was exceptionally bad too, especially in January and February. Lots of blizzards around the Midwest, some very bitterly cold temperatures, and people suffered a great deal during that as well. The snow plowing operations were not nearly as good. Everybody depended on coal to heat their homes, and there were great shortages in that. The trains couldn't get through, the mail was delayed, and just quite a winter to say the least. So in my opinion, 1936 is the all-time worst year for extreme weather around many parts of the Midwest, and most certainly here in the Quad Cities. Well, our issue now is cool air. No heat this week. And you can see what's going to drive it. It's that polar vortex that's actually been scoured out of the Arctic. It's been pushed southward out of there, and it's now moving into the upper Midwest. And you can see the cool air now spinning into extreme northern Iowa. So it really hasn't reached my immediate area yet, but that's going to be happening later on today and tonight. And down will go the temperatures. And why do I say that? Well, just take a look at what's going on right now to the north of us. These were 11 a.m. temperatures, and readings across the northern parts of Minnesota were only in the low to mid-50s, and that type of weather extends into northwest Wisconsin as well. So that is very, very chilly air, and that's what's moving southward into the Midwest and will be a part of the forecast here for the next 48 hours. And here's the temperature anomalies that we're expecting for the next 5 days. So really all week long here, temperatures will be well below normal. This will be the warmest day by far. We're going to have a tough time getting out of the upper 60s to low 70s on Tuesday, and that is the day when we could see our first batch of record low temperatures, and there's another good chance that that's going to happen again on Wednesday morning. In fact, I wanted to show you this here because this is pretty remarkable. These are the low temperatures that are showing up on the model here for Wednesday morning, and you're looking at the state of Wisconsin there and a little bit of northeastern Iowa and northern Illinois. But take a look right there where you see that bright white area. That's some readings in the mid-30s over north central Wisconsin. So record lows would certainly be a possibility in all of this area here, and that would include the Quad Cities. But temperatures in the 30s in mid-July, wow, can you imagine what the people would be saying back in 1936 when they were looking at the heat wave that they were facing then. That's pretty cool stuff. Now anyway, this is the summer as a whole. So really this has been going on now for quite some time. The fact that temperatures have just been not overly hot this year, and all through the upper Midwest and the northern plains states, readings have been averaging substantially below normal. And this is a trend that we think is going to last now for at least another week before things might warm up just a little bit. And if you're wondering why the cool summer, here's what I'm attributing it to. Take a look at the water temperatures out in the Pacific Ocean. where you see the reds and the dark reds there, that is where water temperatures are well above normal. And this has been going on since the winter too. You can take this back about 8 or 9 months. And what it does is promote a ridge over the western United States that takes the jet stream flow out of Canada and drives it right into the center of the country. So it continues to allow unseasonably cool air masses to get into the middle of the nation. A lot of times we don't have this warm water out there, and that just doesn't allow that ridge to develop, and it keeps the warm air across the country and doesn't allow the cool air that we're going to be seeing around here to get in. So as a result of that, we've had several months now with below normal temperatures, and this is likely going to be another one of those. Here's where the jet stream is today, and you can see the 500 millibar flow diving in from the northwest. That'll be bringing the cool air in here. But there is one thing that I wanted to show you that might warm our temperatures in about a week. We're starting to see some signs of at least a brief period of ridging develop in the middle of the country that by next Monday should bring above normal temperatures to the Midwest. So there again you can see where we've got our ridge going on, and here you can see the below normal temperatures that we'll be experiencing in the short term, but beyond that there's some above normal temperatures finally showing up. This is about Monday of next week, so we're all out a week away here, but by that time there is the chance we could see a temperature of 90 degrees, and so far we have not had a 90-degree temperature in the Quad Cities, so that would be a big deal. But here in the short term, temperatures will continue to be cool. Then we'll start to see our warm up here as we get towards the weekend. But the important thing to note is that with the Gulf of Mexico moisture supply shut down, I am not seeing much in the way of precipitation. Looks like it's going to be a dry period for a change in most of the Midwest, and that is something we have just not seen much of since we got into this wet pattern late in May and early in June. So at least we'll get a little bit of a chance to dry out around here. So that's your weather briefing for this day, and I hope you'll be able to get out and enjoy some of the pleasant conditions we're experiencing today, certainly much better than it was back in 1936. So once again, thanks for visiting tswails.com, and have yourself a good one, and as I always say, roll weather.